Oklahoma is heating up, but that isn't keeping people from having some fair fun. The Queen was finally laid to rest today as thousands said their goodbyes, and how a Cherokee speaker came to campus to share the importance of indigenous culture. This is OU Nightly. Thanks for watching OU Nightly. I'm Romello Woodfork.
And I'm Jaden Brannon. We begin tonight with an Oklahoma heat wave, even though we're just days away from fall.
OU Nightly's Dana Searles is at the State Fair to tell us how folks are coping. Dana?
Yeah, guys, I am out here at the State Fairgrounds where it is getting hotter and hotter by the minute. With Oklahoma possibly reaching record temperature highs this week, I came out here to ask people how they're beating the heat. At the fair, but not this year. While people are enjoying their corn dogs, lemonade, and ice cream, there is one thing you won't miss at the fair this year: the heat.
It's definitely the warmest I've seen it in many years. It's hot.
There's a nice breeze, so you're not completely sweating. But
with another week of the fair to go, the staff says they are prepared for the higher temperatures.
We opened up last Thursday. Obviously, it's been hot ever since then. And for the most part, it seemed like everybody had a good time. We did transport some people. There were some EMSA runs. But at the end of the day, we've got a lot of people out here and things happen. So we're prepared for any contingency.
And if you start feeling overcome by the heat, fair officials encourage you to go find some shade.
There's plenty of shade all around the property. So we just ask you to be aware of how hot it is and don't push yourself.
The fairgrounds has a medical staff on call at all times, and if anybody needs assistance, they encourage you to stop someone on a golf cart.
We're all pulling together. We're all in this together. The staff is, the vendors are, the food vendors are. So everybody's cognizant of the heat. We just encourage you to come out and be careful.
The Oklahoma State Fair is a popular time for the state, but with the possibility of record-breaking temperatures this week, people are having to find ways to cool down. And when asking fairgoers how they are staying cool, a common answer I got was
root beer and water.
these cute little root beer mugs are great.
Yeah, guys, no, it is getting very hot out here, so I took some advice and I got myself a cold drink. So get out here, stay hydrated, find some shade, and have some fun. Reporting live from the Oklahoma City State Fairgrounds, Dana Searles, OU Nightly.
Thanks, Dana. The fair sounds like it's going to be a toasty one. I hope it isn't here for long.
Let's check in with Nightly's Jenna Warner for how long we should be expecting this heat.
Thank you, guys. Dana was definitely correct. You'll want to stay hydrated if you're outdoors today and find as much shade as you can. Take frequent breaks as we are approaching our record high temperature in OKC. The record was set back in 1954, and we're currently creeping towards that 98-degree temperature with a 95-degree measurement in OKC. And on top of that heat, it's been dry for a long time. Checking out later in weather, we'll be talking more about the scorching temperatures coming up. Will there be records broken? And we're going to track your next cold front. There's positive news on the way, guys. Back to you.
Thanks, Jenna. Queen Elizabeth II was laid to rest today as hundreds of thousands of people lined the streets of London to say a final goodbye. CNN's Isabel Rosales has the details of today's state funeral.
A somber day for the United Kingdom as the world says goodbye to a queen whose reign spanned more than 7 decades, the longest reigning monarch in British history.
The grief of this day, felt not only by the late Queen's family, but all round the nation, the Commonwealth and the world, arises from her abundant life and loving service, now gone from us.
Westminster Abbey's tenor bell chiming once a minute for 96 minutes, marking each year of Queen Elizabeth II's life. Roughly 2,000 people attended, including world leaders like President Joe Biden, First Lady Jill Biden, and members of the royal family. Following the service, thousands of people lined the streets of London as the Queen's coffin passed Buckingham Palace for the final time.
We adore her, and that's why we are here, because we are part of the Commonwealth.
The crowds cheering as her coffin left London. The Queen laid to rest in Windsor Castle, near her husband of 73 years, Prince Philip. In London, I'm Isabel Rosales reporting.
Queen Elizabeth II died on September 8th at age 96 in Scotland following months of declining health.
And Hurricane Fiona wreaked havoc across Puerto Rico yesterday. Carolyn has that and the rest of today's international headlines from the News Center.
Hurricane Fiona struck Puerto Rico, causing an island-wide blackout yesterday. This morning, over 1 million people were without power. So far, there have been over 1,000 rescues, and many more are expected. But the storm is not over yet after hitting the Dominican Republic. Fiona is expected to strengthen in the coming days and enter the Atlantic. A new report claims one of the most popular social media platforms is distributing misinformation to its users. NewsGuard published a report claiming nearly 20% of TikTok videos contain misinformation. Researchers say they compared search results from the platform and Google on major news topics. They also found that TikTok's search engine contained health misinformation and dangerous claims. Federal regulators have rejected an airline's request to decrease pilot training hours to address the pilot shortage. In April, regional airplane Republic Airways has asked the Federal Aviation Administration to allow graduates to become co-pilots with 750 hours of flight experience. This is only half of the hours currently required for new pilots. One person is dead after a crash involving a school bus in Illinois. It happened this morning, and authorities say no students were on the bus at this time. Back to you guys at the desk.
The Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Office is hosting their annual DEI Week starting tomorrow. Starting at noon, local restaurants will set up on the South Oval, giving students a chance to try different foods and exchange stories until about 3 o'clock. This year, the week's theme is Your Story is Our Story, hoping to connect with students and faculty, but with one main goal in mind.
So DEI Week is for us to create a space, cultivate a sense of belonging, and create a community of care. That's what we're trying to do with DEI Week. So each year, we try to focus it a little bit differently. So this year, we're focusing on small businesses to give them some spotlight since COVID.
And you might be spending a little more on your next trip to the grocery store.
Prices are continuing to increase as inflation rises, leaving many holes in our pockets. And tomorrow is National Voter Registration Day. Find out what students are doing to get more voters filling out ballots. Welcome back, and food prices are soaring at rates the United States hadn't seen since the 1970s. Olivia Daig tells us more in Money Matters. Olivia?
Yeah, Romello, unfortunately, you're going to be shelling out more cash at the store for all your necessities. The latest consumer price index shows most items are more expensive than last year. Necessities like eggs seeing a 40% increase, bread 16%, and almost the same with milk. And it might be time to start meatless Mondays, with chicken seeing a 16% hike and pork and beef also 7% more expensive. And today, most UK businesses and banks are closed for the Queen's funeral, which could hurt their economy. The last time the UK had a public holiday, the UK saw a 0.6% drop in economic output. With today being a national holiday, most banks, the stock market, and many public offices are closed. But pubs and some movie theaters stayed open so people could watch the funeral and pay respects to the Queen. And last week, a railroad worker strike, was narrowly avoided, which could have been detrimental to our nation's supply chain. The workers are asking for more time off as labor shortages are overworking staff, but it's not just a railroad problem. Analysts are concerned about steel workers and other crucial industries. Teachers, nurses, and Delta airline pilots are also wanting to strike. And labor issues are seeming to plague the U.S., but according to a new article by the Oklahoman, personal income and employment is on the rise in the state, despite inflation hurting wallets. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Olivia. And speaking of rising numbers, the number of registered people to vote in the state is on the climb, and OU organizations are helping out. The Housing Center Student Association and Oklahoma Votes and many other organizations are partnering to help OU students register. They're hosting registration events starting tomorrow at 10 a.m. and goes until 5 p.m. And OU Native Nations hosted a guest speaker who shared her ideas on ways to preserve different aspects of Cherokee Nation.
And the walk to class today was brutal, and it only gets worse. Jenna, what else can we expect for this coming week?
Well, I am tracking our next cold front. I'll have that timing and more. Stay with us. Weather is next. Welcome back to OU Nightly. It sure is a beautiful day out there, but it is a hot one. It's currently 95 degrees in Norman, and we have a little wind doing us some justice, but we will be above average through the next 6 to 10 day period coming up here. If we take a look at the allergy index too, I have definitely been suffering from my allergies this past week and going into this week. Weeds and tree pollen are high, so that's the cause for your sniffles. Now, it has been pretty dry out there in Oklahoma. It's been 17 days since we've seen about 1/4 of an inch of rain in Norman, and it's been 22 days in Idabel since they've seen any decent rain. So we are definitely still in a drought. Around this time of year, Norman will have seen 28 inches of rain in total, and right now we're sitting in about an 8-inch deficit. But putting it all together, planning out your week ahead, so we do have some good news. We have a cool front hitting around Thursday, and it will impact temperatures a little bit, but we have an even stronger cold front coming through Sunday morning as temperatures will drop back around average for this time of year. So that's great news coming forward. Looking at your highs tomorrow across the state, it'll still be a hot one. Tomorrow and Wednesday will feel very similar. We have a high of 96 in Norman, 98 in OKC, 99 up in Enid, and there will surely be a few triple-digit temperatures sprinkled in throughout the state. Walking out the door tomorrow morning at 8 a.m., it'll be about 74 degrees. We'll make our way up to 91 around lunchtime, and then we'll start coming back down from our afternoon high to about 94 degrees once you're getting off from work tomorrow. Looking at your full 7-day forecast, now we do have a scorcher of a week. Looking at Thursday, that's where our cold front is playing in. It's only dropping down temperatures a little bit, but if we look to the rest of the week, Friday we'll have a high of 96. Saturday we'll have a high of 97, but if you're going out to Memorial Stadium for that evening kickoff, temperatures should be cooler by the time everyone's in the stadium. And then Sunday, we have those lovely rain chances finally impacting us. We have 40% chance there as the cold front comes in, heading into the week. Monday will be much cooler into Tuesday. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thank you, Jenna. And the OU Native Nations Center hosted Kituwa Elder Ernestine Berry. She gave a presentation over preserving culture and arts from the Cherokee Nation and the Kituwa Band. She says Indigenous people are still facing discrimination today and wants people to know Native Americans are people too.
They're just people, and they don't deserve to be discriminated against, to be put down, to be, put aside as being nothing, and, we just need more understanding, and that's important.
From constitutional documents to a flag from the Civil War, educating about Indigenous people and their origins is important to Ernestine and the Cherokee Nation.
Now, the OU football team got to travel up to Nebraska this weekend, and I heard the corn there is pretty good too.
Dylan, we all know the Sooners took home the win, but how was it up there in Lincoln?
Well, I was there on Saturday. I'm going to disappoint you, Jaden. I didn't have any corn. As for the Sooners and the Nebraska Cornhuskers, man, they diminished. A full breakdown of the win is coming up in sports. Hello and welcome back to OU Nightly. I'm Dylan Rivera. The Sooners faced a historic rival over the weekend and beat the brakes off of them so badly that history was made. 49-14 was the final against Nebraska, the most points Oklahoma has ever put up in Lincoln. As a result, offensive coordinator Jeff Lebby was happy, especially with his O-line.
If we want to do what we want to do, man, it's going to start up front. So proud of where those guys are. Got a ton of work to do. Proud of the depth that I think we've developed a little bit just from guys being able to play a bunch of snaps. So got a ton of work to do. Got a great challenge Saturday night.
OU Nightly had team coverage from Lincoln, Nebraska over the weekend, and Parker Abels was there. Parker, what did you see from the Sooners on Saturday?
Yeah, Dylan, the Sooners dominated the run game in their big win against Nebraska on Saturday. The Sooners rushed for 312 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 3 different Sooners got into the end zone through the ground. Offensive coordinator Jeff Lebby was very pleased with the way OU rushed the ball.
Eric obviously 11 carries for over 100 yards, had some explosive runs. I thought the best thing was he got in space and won one-on-ones, and when you can do that, you're going to have the ability to have some real chunks. And proud of him for that. Marcus did a great job running tough. Was proud of Javonte too. So did some great things. Got to have a great week to get ready to roll next Saturday at 7.
Dylan Gabriel had a 61-yard touchdown run to start the Sooners off in the first quarter. Some Sooners knew how fast Gabriel was. Others were surprised with his speed.
I didn't know he had wheels like that. It caught me off guard when I was blocking. I was like, oh, snap, you're right behind me. So, yeah. It's kind of like you never know until you get out there. So, the game, replicating a game atmosphere, a game kind of situation, unless you're going live at practice, which I don't know much colleges do, it's just hard to replicate.
The Sooners will be back here Saturday to take on the Kansas State Wildcats under the lights of the Palace at 7 p.m. Reporting live from Gaylord Family Oklahoma Memorial Stadium, Parker Abels, OU Nightly.
Thanks, Parker. Last Monday, we highlighted Baker Mayfield and Jalen Hurts. This week, we go to Arizona and Kyler Murray. Sooner fans will remember plays like this one very well. A little Murray magic. His 2-point conversion from start to finish was a 20-second play. Murray would go for 277 yards and 1 touchdown in the Cardinals' 29-23 comeback win. And speaking of comeback victories, the Dolphins would make a monumental fourth-quarter run, outscoring Baltimore 28-3. Former Sooner Mark Andrews recorded a touchdown for the Ravens, but it was Miami getting the 42-38 win. Sooner volleyball continues their hot streak with a straight sets win over Nevada on Friday. Oklahoma has now won 7 in a row, only dropping 2 sets during that stretch. And win streaks don't end with volleyball. Oklahoma soccer is on a run of their own. After a 2-0 victory over Murray State, OU has won 5 of their last 6, with that 6th match ending in a draw. No bicycle goals to speak of this time, but maybe they'll get one against Baylor on Friday. Jaden and Romello, back to you.
Thank you, Dylan. And it's time to ride the 7 Cs.
Stick around for how you should be celebrating.
From the OU Nightly Update Desk, I'm Corey Taylor. The Oklahoma State Department of Education will include a $5,000 increase to teacher pay in its annual budget request. The department says it will require $310 million to fully fund the raise for Oklahoma's 52,850 certified teachers. The budget will be presented to the State Board of Education at its meeting on Thursday. Romello, Jaden, back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Coy. And are you looking for some little fun today?
Aye, aye, Captain. You better hoist your Jolly Rogers and scrub up on your King's English because it's National Talk Like a Pirate Day.
The celebration started about 30 years ago, by two friends, but don't worry, neither had to walk the plank.
You don't need your own pirate ship to celebrate, but be sure to grab your first mate and start singing your sea shanties.
And for a final look, we're going to take a look back at weather. Jenna, can you tell us, will weather impact our evening celebrations?
Well, first, I wanted to take another look at that live campus cam. Boy, it's just beautiful out there. This campus is amazing. I love it here. We have gone up a little bit since the last time we checked in with the Norman temperature, but now we're getting out to your fair forecast tonight. It should be a calm night ahead. Temperatures will start to drop as the sun goes down, so we have a calm evening. Calm winds as well. Overall, just be a quiet evening, great evening to go out and enjoy the fair. Now, I wanted to look at the 7-day forecast one more time. Take notes if you have anything coming up where you're outdoors this week, as it is going to be a scorcher. Back to you.
Thanks, Jenna. Thank you for joining us tonight on OU Nightly.
Be sure to tune in every day this week at 4:30 to get your dose of OU news. Good night.